Pujya, Papa, Mataji, Swamiji and Yogiji. My humble salutations to the great Mahatmas here, and my humble salutations to all the bhaktas who have assembled. It is written, Ashirvachan, I am here only to tell you what I feel and pray. You see, I feel absolutely overwhelmed to be here on this great occasion. After 30 long years, when I entered the ashram, I felt deeply blessed by the vibrant presence of Papa in the form of blissful peace that pervades everywhere. I was stunned. And then the river of love that flows here from everyone. I feel blessed by Mataji Krishnabai. And when I see the service activities here from everyone, in the kitchen, the Goshala, everywhere, I feel deeply touched. And I feel blessed by Swami Satchidananda in these forms. I see the secret gaze of the divinities in the eyes of those people, in the looks of the Bhaktalok here. I see the divine hand in the service activities, the divine love, in the expressions of their love, the love of people who serve here, very deeply touching. Such love pours on earth. I can only say again and again that I feel absolutely overwhelmed. What an institution, what a place. Like he said, one is able to feel the presence of the divinities in everything here, in the stone, in the trees, in the birds, and especially in these great Swamijis, and in the eyes of the Bhakta, the Sevaks here. As I said, it is 30 years after I have come to the ashram. For 18 years, I had not left the ashram, Yogi Ram Suratkumar ashram in Thiruvannamalai. Now, only this year, I have started to go out, and I haven't faced audience before. I might have spoken to a few people around. And I feel it's a great honor, a blessing, a great blessing to be here, to say a few words about what I feel. The very first time when I came to Ananda Ashram here, and I was sitting just outside before entering, I stopped for a few minutes. And then I heard this mantra, Purandara Vittalam, Purandara Vittalam, Purandara Vittalam. I thought it was very strange because I had not heard such mantra before. And I was thinking, my God, what mantra is going on? Somebody said it's Ramnam, but what I hear is Purandara Vittalam. Then as soon as I entered, the Ramna hit me with a force And then I was puzzled. And then later when I asked Swamiji, he said, Vittal was the Purvashram name of Papa. So that was my first experience. And I heard this Ram Naam for a long time to come. This was echoing in my ears. And the second time when I came here, Mataji Krishna Boy was sitting there in Papa's room, the cot. And I had already read the Guru's Grace, and I was already full of Mataji Krishna Boy. Such adoration. And I was just waiting to see her, and as soon as I entered, I saw her, something burst in me. And I felt a pour of love. And suddenly she smiled. She gave me such a beautiful, bewitching smile and said, have I seen you before? So after that she said, what do you want? Without knowing, without any preconceived ideas in the conscious level, I said, I want to be a Krishna Bai. I had no idea what I was asking for. And Swami Satchidananda was seated next to her, and both of them looked at each other and smiled. In a certain way, the smile seemed very strange to me. There was an intimate exchange of glance, which probably meant so many things. At that time I was not aware of. And then Mataji said, you have Papa's blessings. And then she started to explain to me the Kundalini Yoga, how Guru's grace helps at each level, how we could find fulfillment by His grace at the end. And she spoke in Malayalam, and Swami Satchidananda translated everything into English. It was a beautiful experience for me. And then after that, every day I stayed here, I went to her room and sat. Unforgettable. And then by the time here in Tiruvannamalai, so many things had changed. I became a slave of Yogi Ram Saratkama. He called me his eternal slave. And then he gave me the fortune of serving him in close quarters. I became his personal attendant. It was like dealing with fire. He was like fire. I had my own difficulties, but then it was also bliss all through. It was agony and ecstasy. You know what it is to serve great Mahatmas. Yogiji was unpredictable. You would never know what he would say next and what he would do next. And then the ashram started. Yogiji called Swami Satchidananda for the foundation stone laying ceremony. And Swami Satchidananda came to Tiruvannamalai. He went to Ramanashram. So Yogiji and the Parivar, Bhakt Parivar, we also went to Ramanashram. We were with them. And then Yogiji said he would go and wait in the cottage where Swamiji was to stay. So all of us returned to the cottage, Swamiji's cottage there. And Swamiji stayed on in Ramanashram. It took some time before he came. So when Swami Satchidananda ji came to the cottage, Yogiji was seated in a chair, and Swamiji apologized. Satchidananda Swamiji said, it's a little late, I've come late, I apologize. And then somebody said 40 minutes. Then Yogiji said, pat came the reply from Yogiji, 40 minutes? This beggar has waited for 40 long years for you. Such was the love bondage between the two great souls. And after that, Yogiji took Swamiji's hand, would never let go. He would keep the hands of Swamiji on his chest, on his head, and then in hand most of the time. And sometimes he would just take it, put it to his eyes, and never let go. So this I remember particularly, the exchange between the two of them. And the next time in 96, Swami Satchidananda came to Ramana ashram for the Advent Day celebration of Raman Maharishi. So by the time the ashram had come up a little, there was a building being built there, and Yogiji invited Swamiji to come there, and then both of them gave darshan in the Swagat Mandap. It was a sight for the gods. The two of them seated together in such close bond of love, holding their hands together as before. And then again there were exchanges. One of them I remember, Yogiji said, Papa kept you there and asked this beggar to go. And pat came the reply from Satchidananda Swami, quick-witted. He said, Papa made me home minister and he made you foreign minister. It was wonderful to see them together. And when Yogiji requested Swamiji to speak a few words, Swamiji said, silence is the best speech. The most eloquent speech is silence. And Yogiji laughed and laughed and laughed so much. And later, Yogiji told me, Devaki, when this beggar was in madness in Ananda ashram, everybody criticized. Naturally, they didn't understand what was happening to this beggar. But Satchidananda Swami never spoke a word. Said, such is the glory of Swami Satchidananda. Even then, the early years, I'm talking about 1952. In 1999, Swamiji's souvenir came, 50 years of seva in the ashram. And yesterday, Swami Muktananda was telling us, showing us the write-up of Swami Satchidananda, a spontaneous flow in a few minutes. And it was perfect. The spacing, the style of writing, everything just came spontaneously, because after the realization, there is no individual will. The ego is completely uprooted. And then what takes over is the divine spontaneity. Everything about them is spontaneous. Yogiji often used to say, this beggar has no brain to think. This beggar has no mind. So it is one continuous spontaneous flow of everything. So when the souvenir was received by Yogiji, he turned to the back cover. He showed me only that first. Devaki, see. And the folded hands of Swami Satchidananda and the write-up behind. He said, just see, Devaki, how he is serving the ashram with folded hands all the time. This is how one should serve. And see, with this service, he has kept up the atmosphere left by Papa and Mataji, the spiritual atmosphere of the ashram. This is service, Devaki. Every service has to be done with folded hands. The attitude of namaskar to the Guru, who is none other than God. And then he made me read the whole write-up. And then he was stroking it, line after line after line, as though Swamiji himself was there. It was such a loving, loveful gesture. Every line, Yogiji was stroking. As though, it looked as though he was stroking the whole form of Swamiji. And as for Swami Satchidananda, Swami Muktanandaji gave an excellent speech, followed by another excellent speech by the Padmanabhananda Swami. So I have nothing more to add, but the three things which come to my mind when I think of Swami Satchidananda. He says in one place, sitting in meditation with closed eyes is not necessarily the only spiritual sadhana. One can lead a normal life, be a householder or a sannyasi, you can lead whatever is natural to you. Lead a normal life with constant remembrance of God, and every act as an act of worship. More often than not, we see in ashrams, not here, we see that instead of work becoming worship, even the worship becomes work after some time, It becomes an everyday work, and then we begin to treat it as work and we get tired of it and start to move away little by little. Offering a flower, just plucking a flower from a tree or a plant and putting it at the feet of the divinity is so easy. The tree or the plant goes into such hard work to produce one single beautiful flower. And all we do is pluck it and then just keep it at his feet and say it's a worship. But offering every act of your everyday life as a flower at the feet of the Guru is a true worship. So this is what I understood from this. And then in another place he says that Papa Mataji taught him to do his acts of service without expecting anything in return. And then he adds one more sentence to that, even if the return is unpalatable, which is often our experience in ashrams. So this again impressed me, went deep inside me. And the third one I learned is that whenever he prostrated before Parama Pujya Papa or Mataji, he was prostrating before the embodiment of the ultimate truth, the highest truth, the one truth, the only one truth, the one divinity. Every time, whether they are in the body or not, when we prostrate, how many times we prostrate? Every time, do we remember this fact? This is my offering. Please take away, remove, uproot this ego. I'm offering my ego at your feet to uproot it, so that you, the ultimate truth, will be my life. So, and then in another place he says, when somebody asks Swami Satchidananda, is it Advaita, Advaita with you? And pat comes the reply from Swami Satchidananda, when I close my eyes, it is Nirguna. When I open my eyes, it's Saguna. What a wonderful way of saying it. It went very deep inside me. So, the exemplary life of Swami Satchidananda, Mataji Krishnabai, Swami Satchidananda is for everyone. Yogiji's main teaching was also Nama chanting, and he would say, since the goal of life is only God, and we do not know much about God, but we know the name, the Guru mantra given by our Gurus, he said, remembering God is the only purpose of life. And remembering the name is remembering God. And when you remember the name, you live in God. She would say, word and its meaning are inseparable. There's two lines in Raghuvamsa, Parvati Parameshwara something. I don't remember, Swamiji must be knowing. It says the word and its meaning are inseparable. Parvati Parameshwara, yes, exactly. So the meaning is, a word and its meaning. Why do we feel complimented when somebody calls us angel? The word angel is only a word, but we feel so happy. And when somebody calls us a donkey, we feel offended. It's again a word. Why? The word and its meaning are inseparable. And therefore, Yogiji said, when you chant the name of Rama, Rama the word, its meaning is Rama's presence. So when you chant the name, Rama is instantly present with you. When you chant the name of Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Shiva is instantly present. You may not be aware of it, but they are present and they are listening. They are listening to your thoughts. They are listening to your prayers. They are listening to your singing their names. And he would say that if you want to be happy in life, you have to make God happy, and to make God happy is to chant His name. So this is one teaching. And Yogiji also gave me to understand that this body we have not created, have we? Nor have we put life in this body. So why do I say it is my body and it's my life? What have I done to own up this body? What have I done to own up this life? It is the divine which has created the body in the first place and put life in this. So the very body, it is simple logic. You don't have to go to self-inquiry. A very simple logic. I have not created this body, nor have I put life in this body. So there is the divine, the supreme, present inside, which has created the body and put life in it and is sustaining it. Even as we breathe, we are not even conscious of it. Now so many of you are here, you are not even aware you are breathing, but the breathing is going on with such rhythm and precision. Every activity of the body, the circulation of blood. There is a masterly intelligence, the supreme intelligence seated inside us, which is sustaining the body, sustaining the breath. And so the very body belongs to it, and every act, every expression of this body also belongs to that. And because there is life in the body, your brain is able to think at all. So whatever you think is not your thinking, it belongs to the divine within. Whatever you speak, whatever you do as acts, they truly belong to the divine who is sustaining your life. And therefore, we have to remember, we have to be aware that this divine is right inside me, the divine which created the whole cosmos and is sustaining, looking after the cosmos, and in a fraction of a second it can withdraw the whole thing. And that divinity, the supreme divinity, in the form of our Guru, is right inside us and is sustaining our very breath. And therefore we have to be aware that our thinking, all the words that we speak, be it good or bad, and all the acts all through the day and day after day after day, they truly belong to the divine, the Guru within. So we have to remember and connect every thought, every word, every activity to the divine, to the extent possible for us. So, Yogiji so much wanted to come to Ananda ashram, but it could not happen. Even in the last few days, there was a time he mentioned that there was the immediate people around, we were thinking how to take him. So yesterday when I came inside, I felt him coming with me, I felt his presence, and everything I was showing him, see Bhagavan, see. He has been, I'm sorry. So, all I can say is, his inspiration, his final fulfillment happened because of Papa Ramdas, Mataji Krishnabai. In fact, when Yogiji was initiated by Papa Ramdas, he gave Ram Nam, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, and then said this one instruction, chant this mantra all the 24 hours of the day. And there was a great power which went into him with this instruction, started to work. So much so, he could not stop himself. He chanted the name, the mantra, only for 6 days and 6 nights. On the 7th day, he said, Papa Ramdas killed this beggar. After that, Father alone exists, there is nothing else, no one else. And then he said, Devaki, not that this beggar could do it continuously, but this beggar was trying and trying and trying. And then he said, he added, Devaki, this trying is tapas. So we all have to try as much as we can, just chanting the name and remembering that we are only instruments in the hands of the divine, that the divine puppeteer is inside us, pulling the strings of our breath, inhalation, exhalation, and then this body goes into action. The hands move, the mouth speaks, the eyes see, the ears hear, the brain works. We are like robots, the puppets in the hands of the divine puppeteer who is pulling the strings of the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. And if we are aware of it and do our acts all through the day, our strings of the heart will be pulled by the divine and we become a flute in the hand of Krishna. And only a divine music will flow out of us. So, this is a blessing for me, truly a very deep blessing for me to be here to share some of these thoughts with you. And I thank Swami Muktananda with pranams to him, and Swami Padmanabhananda with pranams to him, and Swami Vivektananda. My endless pranams to every one of them. And my prayer is that often Yogiji used to say that Yogi Ram Kumar ashram must become like Ananda ashram. Such is the love and service here. We see such flow of love accompanied by service. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's eyes here, I see Papa, Mataji, Swamiji reflected in their eyes. And therefore, my prayers is that every one of us, so blessed are we that we have come into contact with these great souls, must remember what they have to say, which is their experience, and dive deep and soar high. Thank you.
Before we request Param Pujya Swami Vivektananda ji to share some thoughts, we will have a couple of bhajans. Aaj mere binati, O all compassionate one, pay heed to my prayer. The one on whom the whole world is dependent, the one who is attributeless, ever formless, the one who frees us from the cycle of birth and death, the ultimate abode of joy. There is no one like you in all the 14 worlds, the one who is an embodiment of all qualities. Rishis and seers meditate on thee, the one who frees us from all fears and sorrows. Your glory is unparalleled. Vedas extol you repeatedly. Nobody is able to match up to you, neither devas, asuras or humans. My Lord, please grant this prayer. Bestow me with devotion for you. Brahmananda is meditating on your lotus feet.
आज मेरी विनती, आज मेरी विनती, आज मेरी विनती, आज मेरी विनती। दीन बंधु सुन जरा सी, दीन बंधु सुन जरा सी, दीन बंधु सुन जरा। आज मेरी विनती, आज मेरी विनती, आज मेरी विनती, आज मेरी विनती। सकल जगत के आधार, सकल जगत के आधार, निर्गुण नित निर्विकार, निर्गुण नित निर्विकार। जन्म मरण तापहार, जन्म मरण तापहार। परम धाम सुखतरा। आज मेरी विनती, आज मेरी विनती। चौदह भुवन में समान, पूर्ण सब गुण निधान। चौदह भुवन में समान, पूर्ण सब गुण निधान, पूर्ण सब गुण निधान। ऋषि मुनिगण धरत ध्यान, ऋषि मुनिगण धरत ध्यान। परम धाम सुखहरा। आज मेरी विनती, आज मेरी विनती। महिमा तुम्हारी अपार, महिमा तुम्हारी अपार, महिमा